yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AJC. I got Lucci. I got Omer with me. It is match day. We got Juve Fiorentina set to kick off. We got a ton of news to tackle between stuff that I shared yesterday and some more news coming out today. And never a dull moment around Juve. That foundation, Identità Bianconera, and getting Inter fans rattled and everything. And they want to laugh about it, but we'll talk about it. I'm not going to stand for that crap, and I actually like what the foundation did. But yeah, never a dull moment. Lucci, Omer, how you fellas doing today?
It's a beautiful Sunday morning here. I'm ready to go. Let's get it. Let's
Nice.
get 3 points.
Nice. Omar's doing good, man. Got the
Yeah.
sleeveless going on, so we know that we're in for a good game.
Well, it worked out last match, so yeah, gotta
There
keep it
you
rolling.
go. We're going to say what's up to everybody in the chat here. You guys drop a like while you're in here. We got Haneen coming in out of the gate here. Speedy Bricks Productions. Holy Christ. Forza Juve. All right. Apex coming in. Must win game for us. Absolutely. For multiple reasons, which we will, of course, will tackle. Tony Rosby. Andiamo. And we've got Tony Trim always in here. All right. Joey Cappuccino. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Michael Ross, ciao, guys. How do y'all like your morning coffee? Michael's great at asking questions outside of actual football and Juve. He got us going on the metal one. So remember the metal question about top 5 Metallica songs. Ended up being this long discussion everybody loved, and that came from Michael. So there you go. How do you guys like your coffee? How do you take your coffee, Luch?
Almond milk.
Oh, that's soft. Ooh.
I know. I knew that was coming.
Ooh. Learned a lot about you today already. Omer.
Yeah, just
Straight
I don't know.
black like your metal.
Yeah, I don't know if you call it black, but yeah, it's just black metal, no black coffee, no sugar, no nothing, just. And wait a minute. I want to give a big shout out to two fantastic girls. I don't know if they're Juve fans, but they're AJC fans, and they're tuning into every show. And there's absolutely no gun to my head. So Ashley and Francesca, thank you very much for being great listeners and love it. Everyone here will get a shout out. But Ashley and Francesca, this is your day. Thank you very much. Keep listening.
And moving forward, shout outs will be available for a minimum of 30 subscribers brought in. Now, fellas, let's get to the news. Okay? So, a lot to tackle. I broke through with a few things. There is no sponsorship locked in, and this was all brought to me straight out of Turin there. No sponsorships locked in as of now, which makes complete sense. Champions League. We're waiting for Champions League qualification before we can figure out the rest. So that part makes absolute sense. We heard about the Optic Gaming partnership between Juventus and them. That was announced by Optic Gaming, but Juve is going to do an announcement, and there should be some content coming out very, very soon in regards to that partnership. And then the one that kind of had mixed reviews was obviously the North American tour. So the North American tour is officially canceled, okay? And basically there was 2 cities in the States, 1 in Canada, all on the East Coast that Juventus was set to visit this summer. And it was part of the Soccer Champions Tour. It's been completely canceled. They want to stay close to home base. I've heard that there's going to be no tours from Juventus this summer. Originally, when that news broke out, we were thinking that it was going to be in part on a sponsor. And maybe they were going to go on an Asian tour or whatever because of some potential sponsors out there. Nothing of the sort. They want to stay close to home base. The majority of the fan base believes that is great news because they contribute our brutal starts to those tours. You guys agree or disagree?
Yeah, well, you know my point about it. We've talked about it in the past. I always thought I get the money aspect, but sporting wise, I think it's redundant. I
Hmm.
want Juve to do like they did in the past, play, I don't know, 10 games through the summer against minor oppositions from Serie C and whatever, just to have a chance to work together and work on something on attacking patterns on whatever, especially if we have a new coach. But I know it sucks for all the North Americans who it's it's a big ask to go to Italy and watch a match, and it's nice when it comes close to your house and you can just jump on and watch a match. So sucks for you, but in general for Juve, I think it's good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Luch, you agree?
That's well said. I think it's better for the team, especially if new coaches, new players coming in. You need more game time to get everything up to speed for sure.
I think it's I'm gutted they're not coming by, but I'm actually not too gutted because with the Euros and stuff like that, a lot of the key
Hmm.
guys you'd want to see are not going to be on the tour anyways. And those other clubs that are on the North American tour, those fans will find out that obviously those certain guys will not be around. So it would have been I'm not going to say lackluster, but it would be lacking certain guys that you would want to see on that tour. In terms of the performances and whatnot, we started the season after the U.S. tour this season, 3 wins, 1 draw, and then lost to Sassuolo.
Yeah.
Last season, we had a shit start, but it was more than just a bad start. It was like a bad couple months at the start of the season. I don't actually attribute it to the tour anyway. I think people think that when they go on these tours, it's literally like autograph sessions and visiting like and being a tourist. Those guys were training 3 times a day. If it's a bad start or anything like going into the season, it's definitely not because of the tour. It's because of more things like coaching and what they're trying to work on and the players, etc. Because they were training 3 times a day in pretty damn hot weather out there on the West Coast and whatnot. It's not going to be attributed to that. Same thing with this season. If they stick around and they stay around at home and whatnot, you're going to be playing probably weaker opposition, which I don't really care if they're playing strong opposition or weaker opposition. I'm just saying it really all comes down to what they're trying to do. And the
Hmm.
training sessions I took in when I went to see them on that North American tour, yeah, they do the exact same shit that they're doing in games now this season that they did in that training session that I saw 2 summers ago. So I think there's a lot more to it than just where they train. But
Yeah.
it's over. It's done. The North American tour is wiped out officially, okay? In terms of other news, we had the press conference going into this game from Max Allegri. We had rumors this week coming out about Danilo potentially leaving. Romeo Agresti saying that kind of surprised him and shocked him because he has got nothing of the sort. But I'm going to ask you guys how you felt about it because Tony and I kind of went at it in the group chat, the team chat, because I was like, I'm not saying we should get rid of him, but the leadership or whatnot, I'm questioning the leadership in general, especially when you go
Hmm.
on a run like we just have. I don't see the leadership. And in Max's presser yesterday, I highlighted number one, why did it take the loss to Lazio to finally hammer into the players? Should have been happening before. But number two, the list of leaders he called upon: Danilo, Szczesny, Rabiot, and Sandro. My, what a list. So let's talk about the lack of leadership, I think, is highlighted right there. Agree, disagree.
100%. But my question is, why is like Vlahovic and Locatelli, maybe Chiesa, not involved in those meetings? Like those are your going forward. Those are gonna be your pillars. Forget Rabiot. Forget Sandro. Like they're both possibly gone in a couple months. Why would
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
the
I,
uh, it's
I
the
don't know.
elder statesman thing. It's the
They haven't
tenure
done
thing.
shit all year.
You know,
That's frustrating. But anyway,
Omer.
Yeah, I'm not buying into the Danilo stuff too much, especially if Agresti says he never heard anything of the sort. But Yeah, we know Max has kind of a weird attitude towards who are the leaders and who's the captain. It goes
Yeah.
based on seniority and not, just the person characteristics. So I'm not surprised. I have no idea why he said that, because if it's true about Danilo, then I think all of them can be out this summer.
Yeah. I don't see it happening, honestly, this summer, but
No.
I wouldn't be that upset about it, to be honest. I do love Danilo. He's on this kit right here, but I
Now,
don't know. If you can get
Yeah.
some money, why? I think anyone's available if you can get some money back.
I'm kind of saying the same thing. Like, I'm not saying go and get rid of Danilo, but
Hmm.
I'm not seeing this big loss. Like, and that was the argument that Tony and I got into, because he's saying, no, we need leadership. We're lacking. And I said, we're lacking it with this guy around right now. I'm sorry, but it's like, number one, if we're looking in the Mercado, it should be some veterans. We
Yeah.
should be looking at a couple of guys that at least have some healthy experience around them, and that should help turn the tide too. Sometimes your leaders have to just naturally evolve too. And I said, if you look at Danilo himself, and if you look at these guys on this list, let's look at the guys on this list. Danilo could have quite possibly left based on his first year and a half at Juventus. Could have easily, they could have been like, you know what? Forget this. Because that's how bad it went. Rabiot's had one strong year out of 5. Okay. Sandro, I'm getting close to the end with Sandro. Tech, I don't actually see as a leader.
Not at all.
I don't think it's a big this big loss in terms of leadership. And I'm looking at this team, even with these guys around, we've been saying the leadership isn't there. So I don't see a huge loss if they look to move him. There's nothing there that I'm like, absolutely we have to keep him. But in the long run, he's versatile. He will be needed. There's other bigger fish to fry
Yeah.
going into the
Yeah.
Mercado.
So,
But
Al, I got a question for you and Omer then. So we know like there's a few veterans, like I think Modric, Casemiro, both available this summer on a free. Given the age and probably the salary they're going to require, do you consider bringing in one? Even Casemiro's been ever since he moved to Man U, he's kind of fallen off. But would you take that chance?
I'm scared about the Man U thing and everything like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
if the wages and everything like allowed, Casemiro would mean that you would have to make a decision with Locatelli and whether you move him or you move him over to the
I think,
Metsala role.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
Casemiro, that's exactly where he plays. Modric at 38 years old, you wouldn't tell by
Risky,
watching him play.
but it's
But
risky.
it's I don't know if I love Modric. I always he's been one of my favorite midfielders, but I don't know. Casemiro, I probably would if the numbers were right and everything. But you got to make a decision then this
Interesting.
year with Locatelli. But Casemiro, I would take that chance. Omer?
Yeah, I wouldn't bring in any of them, to be honest, because
Interesting.
no, not because they're not good players. They're phenomenal players. I don't think we can afford their wages. I don't see them
Hmm.
dropping their wages. They'll get an offer from Saudi Arabia or something with even
True.
higher wages than they have now, and we're not going to get into it.
The only
Just
one I would have considered was Cruz, to be completely honest. I'm not too sold on these other two.
That was my pipe dream, man, was
yeah,
Tony Cruz. But
Yeah.
Casemiro, and this is the part that really gets me, is like how much of it is him and how much of it is the Man U effect. Because that Man U effect is there. Look at the list. Look at the list of guys that have fallen into that, right? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. But I'd also argue that's not the main position in the midfield that we should
Agreed.
look for, right? It should be more of the offensive minded type midfielders. So there's that. But always been an admirer of those guys. But I could see Omer's point and going for the different profile there. But the lack of leadership is something that we've been talking about a lot, and that's kind of come up. One of these other guys, too, that came up in the talks was Sandro, and it's almost inevitable Allegri will have him beat Nedved's appearance record. I made a little YouTube short about it. Does that actually bother you guys at all? And everybody in the live chat, are you bothered by it? Do you feel nothing about it? Do you care? Where are you at, Omer?
Yeah, I kind of feel nothing about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, fine, whatever. Doesn't mean anything else besides just, I don't know, he's been here for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
bother me at all.
I'm bothered by. I am bothered by. Lucci, where are you at? Are you bothered by?
I mean, I'm bothered by it now because he probably should have been gone a couple years ago. Like he was, don't get me wrong, he was great for the first what 2-3 years he was with us, but man, we ran that guy into the ground, and the downfall came rapidly. And it's like the extension after extension just made no sense, and now there's really nothing you can do about it. So it is what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I just gonna like for me the only thing that kind of makes me feel a certain way about it is the difference in how that number came about. Because when Nedved's turning down top sides and he sticks with us through the darkest of times and could have left easily with the group and everything at that point in time, and how crucial he was to that team throughout his tenure, then it makes me feel a certain something that, yeah, you know what? He should actually keep that based on how it went about, as opposed to how another player has kind of ramped his up. And it's not a discredit and it's not a knock on Sandro because he has been around, hasn't complained, okay? But I gotta say, I think it should mean something and it should stick with Nedved. That's
Well,
just
well, Vincenzo G puts out an interesting one that might be true, like pettiness from Max toward Nedved.
well. This
We
is
know
what I'm
they don't
saying.
like each other.
The
Yeah,
joke
you could
came
do that.
about.
That's
Everybody
True.
said the same thing. When I put that short video that it does actually bother me, everybody said the same thing. They're like, Nedved wanted Max out in 2019. He's not only going to have him pass it, but he's going to have Sandro get a cushion on top of it, right? So
oh damn.
it's one of those
That
things, but I am actually a bit
yeah.
bothered by it. And Apex says, I don't like him passing Nedved in appearances just because of how he got to that number, exactly like what I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does bother me. Nonetheless, get prepared,
What
everybody. Get prepared
what
because I
does
think
bother
that is
me
happening. Now,
what does bother me is that it will take a long, long time before we see anyone pass Sandro's landmark. Because we don't have
I,
players who stay for 10 years.
exactly.
I mean,
I don't
Moretti's
know
already
if
over 50. He's almost there.
who's that?
Moretti is
Moretti's
going to
over
get
50
sold.
already. He's only 20 years old. So in 5
Foreign,
years.
foreign.
Oh,
Foreign.
foreign. Yes. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Yildiz.
Yes.
Got to get
would be the
Yildiz
next-
some appearances, and hopefully he goes. So, Chesney made a bet, hopefully not with Fagioli, but he made a bet that within 5 years, Yildiz going to be a Ballon d'Or nominee and whatnot. Who's willing to take that bet? Live chat, are you willing to take that bet, fellas?
Well, not by playing 10 minutes every match.
yeah. No.
Yes, something has to. I mean, he has to play more, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a nothing bet. He might be. I think he's good enough. I think he's one of the most talented players we had in the
Yeah.
past. I don't know, 10 years from this young age. Yeah, he could be there.
I mean, I'm sure the odds are good on it, so why not take a chance?
All right.
Yeah, just what's
So
at
what are we
stake?
betting? Hey, by the way, you got to still change Anthony's profile on X there, Omer. Okay, because you won that bet. We got to get that done.
Yeah,
We got to pick something. Now,
I need to open a group for suggestions.
Now, speaking of betting and everything, and we do have Fagioli in the mix there. I made a little joke just now about it, but he is set. This is another piece of news I brought yesterday that he is set to get his own documentary, and apparently it is going to have a raw and intense look at everything that's gone down this past season, and it's supposedly going to be through Netflix, and that had mixed reviews and reactions from fans. So I saw some fans saying, does everything have to be a cash grab? I said others say now we're glorifying gambling and everything and all this. Look, it's not going to be a how-to video on gambling. Okay, I'm quite certain it's not going to be him telling you when to hit in blackjack. It's if done
Never.
properly, I think this could be actually a very good tool to help people to see kind of what he's gone through, whatnot.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it at a completely different way. I'm looking at he lost quite a bit of support when that all went down. And it's an opportunity to go behind the curtains and maybe restore that faith in the player and regain some of that support. That's how I'm looking at it. What do you guys think about it, Luch?
I think, yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it brings more awareness to kind of what happened and like what he's been going through and the recovery and, well, not recovery, but comeback and all that stuff. So I think it's probably a good idea, especially for maybe people that are younger that are maybe going through a similar struggle or, are really into betting. Maybe it'll help them open their eyes, right, to see the downfall, the things that could happen from that. So I have no issues with it. I think it's kind of a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Omar, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I actually like it a lot.
Yeah.
I like the all the aspect of mentality behind the scenes. What do these players go through? What it takes to be a player at a top club from a young age. I find it really interesting. I love documentaries on personalities that had and went through tough times. I mean, the
Hmm.
Maradona one is brilliant. There's one about Maradona who's just fascinating. So yeah, I think it's super interesting. I would definitely watch it. I call it a cash grab, call it whatever you want. It's interesting no matter how you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael, I agree with Mike too.
And it's an interesting thing from Michael Rasso here that comes up about liking the idea and he thinks about how many young kids bet. I can personally attest to knowing of two families that had no idea that their young sons were actually gambling,
Hmm.
actually doing it actively online. And yeah, it was actually quite intense. So, like I said, if done properly, this could really be used as a good tool, and it should
Yeah.
help to regain some support for the players. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, fans thinking it's a cash grab and everything. We'll see what happens. I'm really hoping he can get it right
Hmm.
and hit it right on his return because we need it. Like, we desperately need him. We always highlighted this with Fagioli that a different time, he may not have had that second crack with Juve. So hopefully he makes the most of it. And I'm going to believe that he does. I'm going to believe that he does. Now, we got to get to what everybody's talking about there. Roberto Luongo today reports that Mota has an agreement in principle.
Daniele.
It's not Roberto Luongo, but I don't know who the hell Daniele Luongo is. And we got the question in there, how credible is he? I
Well,
have not kept track of
Hmm.
Daniele Longo and his track record. I'm going to say that it's not the strongest, but Mota's
no, I
been listed
I
as the
can
guy
answer
for a
it.
while.
Yeah, I can answer it. Longo, he's a reporter for Calcio Mercado. From what I've seen from all the news we do, he usually knows a lot more about Milan.
Mm.
Yeah, he gets it right with them a lot. He's sort of there at Gresti, not entirely, but with Juve, he's been like hit and miss. I want to say like 60
Well,
40.
there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah, yeah, he's not like Pedula or one of those guys.
Okay, I'm
No, sorry, not
optimistic then.
Pedula. Yeah, they're one of the least credible guys. He's actually okay. Wouldn't say he's brilliant and 100%, but yeah, he gets it right more often than not.
Huh. Well, Mota seems to be listed as the guy if they make this change. Of course, you still have guys like Tardelli coming out yesterday just to keep everybody on their toes. All right. But for me, it's really been Skira, the one that I've had eyes on the
Hmm.
most because he's the guy talking about the meetings that have actually gone down and whatnot. So, no disrespect to Roberto, Daniele, whoever Longo is going to come in here and say it. I need Skira. Once Skira kind of says, hey, there's an agreement in principle, then I'll be like, okay, Here we go. Here we go. But we got to talk about this and how we feel about it. I put out my video with my reasons and as to why I have decided, for me, moving forward, Malta is the pick. Tactical flexibility, not stubborn. Will change formations and setups based on the personnel he has. The ability to work with young talent, working with a roster of 31 million, in terms of value. He's got a salary value. He's got a clear game plan that you actually see versus different opponents. When he wants to shut down and get more width, you see that unfold on the pitch. When he wants to get narrow, work in tighter passing scenarios, you see that come through. I like all of that about him. In terms of the experience with the Champions League, that is the one knock I faced on comments coming at me. Well, you have to gain that at some point just by jumping in there and doing it, okay? And we had a guy just come in here for 3 seasons that had that experience and everything, but it doesn't really change because everything has to fall in line. The experience in Champions League is not going to stop me from making that decision. In terms of big club atmosphere and environment, he knows it from his playing days. I think the most overlooked situation around him and attributes is the ability to have that little bit of Conte that everybody wants to see at the club, the fire, the passion, the desire. He actually does carry that. And if you remember his playing days, he is a very fiery individual. And he is my pick. He is my pick. Do you guys agree, disagree with my assessment? What are your concerns if you have them? Let's go, and maybe we'll kick this one off with Omer.
Yeah, so I've been here like for the past 4 or 5 podcasts, so I've talked about it a lot. Honestly, I'm fine with Mota, I'm fine with Conte. I don't get the Champions League thing. How much Champions League experience did Zidane have as a manager? Or how much did Guardiola have as a manager? Mourinho when he first won it? It's very random. It's not about just, being a senior manager in Champions League doesn't guarantee anything. Nothing guarantees anything in the Champions League. And so I'm not even taking that into consideration. He's interesting. He has some interesting attacking patterns, defensive patterns, even the way that the team moves. He's got that fire in him. You can see him on the sidelines. Although Bologna just drew with Frosinone, so we have a chance to gain some points on them.
He's trying to help us for next season since he's going to be joining, so it makes sense.
But it wasn't like a one-season wonder. He did great last season too.
18 minutes and Monza's 1-0 up on Napoli. So let's all laugh at that.
Yeah, Omer, I think you nailed it. He's been around. He's got the experience. The thing that the Champions League thing doesn't, like, to me, it doesn't matter because we're not in Champions League this year anyway.
True.
So it's going to be a big adjustment for not only him but the players too.
And if we were, will we consider a contender at any point?
No, exactly. Great point.
Then why take a manager by that standard?
Apex coming in here, I'm okay with the lack of experience managing in Champions League because Champions League is not our target next season. He has shown he knows how to manage Serie A. It's going to be a build-up. It's not going to be you get a guy, like even if you had let Klopp come in here, Klopp's not going to run us to the final of Champions League next season. It's going to be this slow build thing. I'm right there with Apex when we're talking about that. I get this, with the old ties to Inter whatnot, but he's not like one of those Inter diehards, okay? He's not like that. He played there, but he's
been around though. Like
he's not like that. And if you look at his interviews before the game, Bologna versus Inter, you'll see there's not really much there. And he has no real sentiments to maybe firing up their fan base and whatnot. So I'm okay with it.
I was angry with him for years.
Well, when he put hands on Gigi, man, you don't touch Gigi. So
no, not because of that. I mean,
I was for that. Okay.
Yeah.
That prick, I could have slapped him around myself.
But no, he had a game with Italy, I think it was against Spain. It was some Euro final or something, and he just came on and got injured like
Yes,
five
I do
minutes after
remember
he
that.
came on. And I was so
They
angry
they
because,
got
come
hammered
on,
that game anyways, didn't they?
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it
But
mattered in
yeah,
the
I was
end.
angry because where's the professionalism? How do you come to a final and
Yes,
get
I
injured
remember
5 minutes?
that.
Just not because of a foul, just underprepared. I was so angry because it was our last substitution. We were left with 10 players, and
That's
yeah.
right.
But water under the bridge. I mean, it's long gone, and I'm
Yeah.
not
Hmm.
angry anymore.
All right. All right. I'm glad you were able to let it go, Homer. Okay. I'm glad you were able to let it go. We do have to. We're not at Storm the Barn yet, but we're gonna tackle this one before we really dive into Juve and Fiorentina, what we're gonna see today. Okay. So, and that is coming from George, and he says, I don't know if you watch IFTV. One of the guys there said we are 3 players away from competing in Champions League. What do you think about that? How many players do you think we need? So, I did see the clip because, admittedly, I do not watch IFTV, but I saw that clip, and I think it was Marco's dad that actually stated that 3 players away from competing in Champions League. If we think about this, number one, what would be the 3 positions?
But what
Are
would be
all things
competing?
remaining the same? 3-5-2? Are we switching to a 4-3-3? Like it's really tough to kind of tackle this because
Mm,
number one, I've felt that the attitude and the approach could have used boosting a lot more than even necessarily what we're doing on the pitch, but you have to have a class creative midfielder come into this team if you even
Hmm.
want to think about that, right? If you even want to think about that, you need offensive help.
Yeah.
Like 2024, Vlahovic has been pulling his weight, and that's about it. We still have a forward on 0 contributions. Okay. And then you got Milik. Milik and Keane are set to leave as a rumor. Okay. We're going to get to another one of these rumors right after this question, but you need offensive help.
Hmm.
You big time. Midfield, I'd still say you need probably outside help in a fullback or something. But is that enough? For me, no. No, it's still not enough. Not unless certain key guys at Juve now actually pick it up. Then you have it. Then you could say that maybe 3 will do it, but you're still depending on guys that have been around for a while to finally pull their weight. Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, but I also like, does he mean compete as in not finish last in the group, or compete and make it to the semifinals? Like that's a
He
big difference.
said win. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure he
then
said win. Like they're 3 players away from taking a
no.
Champions League. I'm like, dude, all your guys there right now, the key guys that have not been delivering anywhere near consistently would
Yeah,
have to be like lights out if you're gonna say 3 players is what we
absolutely.
need. And that's why I can't get down with that because you would need all these guys to start going over their heads.
So to actually even consider winning, I think you're closer to 5 or 6 players,
Oh
not
man,
3.
for
Yeah,
sure.
what?
yeah.
I'm like 7, 8, 9
A
easily.
whole team, a whole team. I don't
No,
think it's
because
that. I don't think it's that.
you need to be able to rely on your bench too. Yeah,
Yeah,
starters are
true,
fine.
true,
Our
true.
bench is still not the level that
Yeah,
we need. I mean, yeah, okay, so we have Vlahovic and he gets injured. We already filled 3 positions. Then would you trust Keane or Milik going to a Champions League quarterfinal with them,
Yeah.
competing with Real Madrid? No, I'm not there.
And this is probably
Yeah,
the way
we
I'd put it. We're 3 to 4 players
yes,
away from competing if we keep our big 3. That's
that's well
probably the
said.
fairest
Yep.
assessment. Like I said, you need these key guys that are here now to be playing over their heads. You would need these 3 guys coming in to be monsters, but it was a little outrageous. And they did, rightfully so say, "What are you smoking?" Okay? So that's where it is. But in terms of these players coming in, talked about we would need a big boost offensively. The rumors are Keane, Milik will be shopped and whatnot. Apparently, Genoa, Bologna, Fiorentina all interested in Moise Keane. Still going to be a tough piece of business for Juve to get
Ciao.
what they need out of it. But Retegi, Xerxes, so Xerxes not apparently over, but The Retegi one would be fantastic if he's willing to come in.
Absolutely.
What was
Make
the
that
last
happen.
number we were hearing? Like 15 million, like 20
Yeah.
million.
No
Yeah.
way we get him for that amount.
There's
No
no
I mean,
way Genoa will
if
deal for that.
unless you're
No.
sending Enzo like Barnechea and 15 million, then maybe I'd understand it. That's
Yeah.
closer to what, 30, 25, 30?
Man,
But
Retegi coming in and being a Vice Vlahovic would be fantastic.
but does he even need to be a vice? They can like together they would be nice too.
Are we staying with that? Motta's not going to. If Motta comes in, he wouldn't do that. So then he would have to be willing to come in as a vice. Because if there is, in fact, a coaching change, I don't see
Yeah.
us playing with the two striker system, right? If
Yeah, I guess depending.
But if Xerxes comes in, Xerxes a different style player. And I actually think he could play with Vlahovic in that front two.
See, I was thinking the other way. I thought Xerxes and Vlahovic couldn't play together. I was thinking more Retegi could play if it's a 4-2-3-1 behind Vlahovic. That's
Because
what I
like
was
Xerxes
thinking.
not your true 9, man. Like he's not a true 9. That's why I think he could play with like Vlahovic there. And the rumors are that Giuntoli is still looking. We hear that Xerxes wants to go to Milan. We hear that he's closest to Milan, but apparently Giuntoli's not gonna stop there. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Giuntoli does. But in terms of the Mercado, I don't know. Like, it could be one of these things where we don't have a whole lot coming in. We might have a bunch going out. Like, the numbers, it's going to be interesting to see what Juve does and how they work through it. Storm the barns, keep them coming, everybody. Ozil, we found out today that this week that Ozil is a huge Juve fan. That was the only team he didn't join, and we found out he got jacked. All right,
He's a
but
big boy.
man, it's great to hear. You love hearing that. Would have been even greater if he actually did play for Juventus. I'd even take him now, for Christ's sake. But that was kind of cool. Hey, what'd you guys think when you saw it? Oh, Omer, what'd you think when you saw that?
Wow, that was random. That was one
Yeah,
of the most random.
It was totally
I've
random.
seen, because he was like all over it. It was like my beloved Juve. I mean, I've never heard him talk about Juve.
Yeah.
Anyway, it sort of came out of the blue. Yeah, he's a classic player. He always was. A bit unfortunate with injuries. And his prime, no, in his prime, we didn't really need him. Maybe for Champions League. But now, yeah, he can't run for 20 minutes. I mean, the end of his career was pretty frustrating, fitness-wise. But at his prime, yeah, I would love to have him. Phenomenal
Yeah.
player, brilliant.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're
I
going to feel
think that
one
till
more.
today, I think that till today, he's the player that assisted Ronaldo the most at Real Madrid. Even though he played with Modric and Bale and whoever, Ozil still holds that record, I believe.
Huh. We're going to get to one here before we get into Juve Fiorentina. Sell Milik, Keane, Sule, Illing, and Bremer. Rope in Hermoso, Calafiori, Retegi, Xerxes. Will you guys be happy with that?
No, because you still didn't fix the
No.
midfield. The midfield's a disaster.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't know about disaster, but it needs
it
certain
needs a
profile.
couple pieces
Fajoli
for
coming
sure.
back next season will help.
I
Pauly
see.
Saudi will be heading out. We need. I
For
really
me-
like. I'd like Coop Mainers and Samardzic personally. I know Ferguson's getting a lot of shouts and everything like that, but I'd like Coop and Samardzic. But this is what I mean. If you're starting to look at this, Hermoso's a free. You could probably do that. Okay, you could work that. We're gonna be saving a bunch in salary. You got a bunch of guys outgoing. Calafiori. I would
Relatively
love
cheap.
to see Calafiori added in somehow. Okay, before we get to Retegi and Xerxes, now you got to get into midfield. Now you have to get into midfield. I got to talk about Sule. Obviously, the words he used about joining Juventus. Yes, Ronaldo was around at that time talking about his dream, Real Madrid and all this. And he talked to me all the time about Real Madrid. And fans flipped. That's all it took for a ton of fans. They said, sell him now. Look, I've been on the sell train the whole time with Sule. I really haven't wavered. I said it depends on Chiesa for me
Uh-huh.
because you can't sell both. It doesn't make sense. But it's looking more and more like there is going to be a 1-year bridge renewal with Federico Chiesa, which I agree with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Same salary, I agree with. Sule, I'm still and have been on the sell train. I would sell him. Did that interview or anything change your mind on it? Do you care? Do you still want to keep him, or are you okay selling him? Lucci, sell?
To me, it doesn't matter what he said. Everyone's kid, as a kid, you have a team that's good. You dream of playing for them as an up and coming player.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna sell him yet. Like, you need options up top. We don't have anything, especially if you move Illing as well. Like, who's gonna play there? Are you bringing in someone else?
So who would you sacrifice instead of Sule that's going to actually bring in capital around
Well,
that
that's the
number
thing.
to bring your midfielder in?
It's got to be Sule or Illing. I wouldn't get rid of both. I would keep
Well,
one of them.
Illing will bring in probably half the amount. You're talking about a difference of 20 million to about 40, maybe 45.
Yeah. You think
The
you can
only
get
guy
45 for
closer to
Sule?
Sule is Hoyson, and that's a no-go for me.
I agree. I agree. I don't know. For me, fuck, I don't know. That's tough because he's got
It
these.
is, man. It
He's got the
is.
talent. He's got it. I don't
No,
know,
I
man.
would keep both actually.
I'm
So
And
how do you fund the Mercado? Do you get rid
someone
of
believes someone's
look,
comment here believes
the,
Bremer's gone.
do
Bremer's
you
a
move
done
Bremer
deal.
to do it? And
no,
then
no. The reason I'm saying that is because we will be in 4 competitions. I think they'll get a lot of playing time. I think they can
Yes,
really benefit from even one season under Mota as youngsters, and maybe we can even pump that price up next summer if they have
true.
a good season, playing in the Champions League and stuff. Other eyes will
sure,
get to watch
but
them.
how do you fund the mid?
Oh,
See, Al, I think
okay.
for
First,
this one, you're gonna have to sell more quantity rather than quality. So you're giving
yeah,
out
it's
your
like
Hans, your
for me,
Enzo.
But the problem with
for
that
me,
then becomes you open up a lot more work to do in terms of filling in as well.
Well, right now you don't have Enzo
I'll still
anyways. Hans doesn't play. You getting Fajoli back anyways. At that point, does it really matter?
But you're not going to get much there anyways.
No, you're not. You'll
Because
get a
Barnechea is
quarter
going to
of
bring you
that
what, maybe 12 in capital?
if you're lucky.
Caviglia, 8, 10? Like in capital, not sale prices, everybody. Capital.
Right.
There's not much there, right?
You
And I don't know
well,
if
yeah,
I'm
like
ready to just bail out on a ton of guys to draw up this number rather than sacrifice one. And like I said, out of the big guys, because I saw this question too, we might as well kind of
I saw
take it
that.
on. It was about
Out of the big three,
out
who
of the
you
big
moving? Yeah.
three, who are you the most comfortable losing to fund these new players? This Bremer release has actually changed everything. If we're going to, like, in my opinion, it's something that should not be overlooked because the only saving grace for this thing is that it kicks in next season, but Juve could cancel out sale by matching this predetermined salary or whatnot. But you have a guy like Hermoso that's available free now, and you have a guy like Calafiori that you could pick up.
And you
So you
got
could swing
Houston
two
hopefully
of these
coming
guys.
back.
If you look at those players, if you look at Calafiori's salary and whatnot, you could give him a bump and it still would not affect you largely.
Yeah.
I would be comfortable. I don't want to, but I would be comfortable out of picking that scenario and selling Bremer, making a lot in capital, getting Hermoso on a free, and getting Calafiore in. That still doesn't help us in the midfield, though, if we go that route. That's why this is so difficult. And I think any way you slice it, a guy that's bringing in 30 to 40 mil in capital in one shot is going to have to be moved at Juve. Or this midfield doesn't get a significant boost.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. I'll get rid of Miretti and Nicolucci. I'll get rid of Hoysen, and I'll get rid of Kane.
Really?
Yeah, those are the four. Because I feel like replacing Bremer would be a lot harder. We can
I don't
replace
know.
Vlahovic. There are good options there for Vlahovic and for Chiesa. The world is just pestered with strikers and wingers. Top CBs are hard to come by.
See,
Really hard
for
these days.
me, I'm with you, Al. I think you move out of the three. It's Bremer, and I love Bremer. Don't get me wrong,
I
but
love Bremer. I don't
we
want to
don't
see him go,
have.
but
Yeah, exactly. We don't have that many options up top, especially if we change formations. If you bring in Calafiore, Hermoso, like you said, you still have um, Houston hopefully coming back. You have Rugani. Like if you change to a back four, you should be relatively covered even without Bremer.
yeah,
As much as you don't want that to happen, but you got to make money somewhere. So,
yeah.
man, I think you could eat like if you decide to sell this summer, you should be able to get 80 million for Bremer, don't you think?
Well, that's the thing. That release clause, in my opinion, we're not going to see more than the release clause this summer. Some believe that we will still get it. I don't believe so.
I
They'll
mean, if
just
they
be like,
really
we'll
want,
wait a
they,
year.
if the team really wants him this year, so they don't have to wait a year, they'll pay the extra. What's an extra 10 million at the end of the day for these
The
teams?
the
For EPL
problem
teams,
is
it's nothing.
the problem is if Bremer gives his will. If a team comes in and says we'll match the release of next year at 60 to 70, whatever the hell it actually is, other
Mhm.
than being reported, and he says, yeah, I want to go there. Now all of a sudden you want to play hardball, but the player wants to leave. So it leaves you in a shit scenario
True,
anyways,
true.
because you can't play hardball with a guy that wants to leave because do you want to keep a guy that's not around?
Like
Did you guys
Delit.
hear Tottenham's coach the other day? Did you hear that interview?
No.
I loved it. Asked about players signing and Champions League, and he says, he's like, that is a great discussion for me that I have with players because he says, if they tell me they want Champions League, then you're not for Tottenham. Because if that's the only reason you want to come and join us, then see you later, right? It's kind of along
100%.
the same wavelengths because you got to want to be here to have that commitment and have that. So I like that. I liked what he
I
said
agree.
about that, but I think we lost our leverage personally.
Yeah,
I
with all
think
this
we've
news
lost
coming out, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have. It's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting. But look at the chat and look at the decisions. Like everybody's got this complete different vision about what to do and who to move and who to say. You got Trim coming in here. Easy. Milik, Keane, Bremer, Sandro, and Sule out.
Okay.
Calafiore, Kupsa, Mardzic in.
But
Oh,
then you still need to get at least one attacker there.
we
If
got to get an
that's not
attacker in
enough.
the mixer.
Yeah,
So
at
you've
least
lost
one.
Milik, Keane, and Sule.
And
So
Felipe Anderson, whoever's putting that in the chat, is not the damn answer. That guy sucks.
hey, you know what though?
Yeah.
It's consistent every year
At
and
sucking?
consistently the same numbers as Fede Chiesa.
And he's also how much older?
So is that a knock on Felipe or Fede?
On Anderson.
About 8 years difference.
Yeah.
between them.
Well,
I'm
Chiesa
just
still has
saying.
8 years to catch up and beat his numbers, is what I'm getting at. And he hasn't had the same very similar injury. So it's completely different. It's apples and oranges here.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's funny to me. Like I don't want Felipe Anderson either, but I mean, you're gonna have to sacrifice, and that's the thing is, I'm watching this unfold everywhere here, and we're not gonna have our cake and eat it too. Something's gonna have to give, you guys. We're not gonna keep Sule, keep Bremer, and bring in a big midfielder. Keep
Yes.
Chiesa, keep Vlahovic, keep Bremer, keep Sule, keep Hoyson, and bring in all these guys. It won't
So-
happen.
Do you see a possibility of moving Sule and Bremer this summer? Do you see that happening?
I think Juve's gonna deal with the release clause one more year coming off the amortization and want to lose him next season. Bremer.
Okay.
I think they want him around one more year.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I think they are going to look at one of Hermoso. Now they have competition from Inter on that player and one of Calafiore.
we totally forgot we got Dallo there, sitting there playing, not playing.
Yeah.
Totally forgot he was on the team.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'd
He's
love
an
to see him
option.
get
Like,
some minutes before we start talking about loaning him out next year. What the fuck? Anyways,
I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyways, on
Fiorentina
to the
today,
next.
maybe we see Thiago Giallo come in for some minutes. Don't bank on it, but I'd love to see it.
No.
Bonaventura set to return for Fiorentina, so Max's son will be available for Italiano, okay, after serving a suspension last weekend. Italiano made a lot of rotations and actually played players out of position in that Coppa Italia match where they got the lead now on Atalanta going into the second leg. But going into this game, it's expected back to the 4-2-3-1 with guys in their main positions. You're going to see Terracciano, Dodo Martinez, Ranieri, Biraghi, Arthur and Duncan as the two pivots. Gonzalez, Beltran, Sotil with Belotti up top is what is expected for Fiorentina. For Fiorentina, the one thing standing out to me the last time we played them is how we essentially played right into their hands by rushing our Mezzalas forward so quickly. There were no lines to break because of the two-man pivot. They literally occupied the spaces that we bomb our Mezzalas to naturally. So I would hope after watching video and going over that, we don't do the exact same fucking thing today and that we have a different solution or answer. So I'm going to be very harsh and critical of our game plan and strategy based on what I see today, okay? Because you got to have an answer. The way they line up 4-2-3-1, that puts more players in positions to hurt us with pressure up front. So we do have to play from the back, and we do have to keep those Mezzalas from just bombing forward. And you can't at the same time leave your forwards on an island and expect them to hold up. They are going to get swarmed immediately like it happened in the last game because our spacing and positioning has to be strong. You have to figure out that you cannot rush the Mezzalas forward. You have to build up as a collective unit against the way Fiorentina is going to approach this game and attack us. But they could also kind of hand back a little bit because they're on the road and their record against Juventus on the road is very, very bad. So he might approach it a little more defensively because he's losing faith, I think, Italiano in that attack and has the season, and they played a different brand because of the lack of goal scoring. It's going to be very interesting to see. You know, for Juve, well, we got our projected lineup. It's the exact same. It's the exact same as we saw in the last Coppa Italia match with Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Cambiaso, McKennie, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Vlahovic, and Chiesa.
Well,
Real
technically,
quick,
there's one change.
so
Kareem
go ahead.
played.
What?
Kareem played on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Not-
so sorry.
That's the one change.
Yeah, but
Get it right, man. Jesus.
big deal. It's not really a change. It's a keeper.
No, it's not.
No,
Guys
no,
are
he
both-
got you there. He
Guys
got
are
you
both
there.
number ones, okay? But shout out to McKennie, okay, as we have a lot of the North American fan clubs group over there in Turin, and these guys actually presented Wes with something, and it was pretty cool. He was very receptive to the fans and everything with signing autographs and photos and everything like that. And it's kind of tough for these guys because they just get out of training and everything. But we're going to get John Grow on the show after. But Weston McKennie was presented with these custom tees. Okay. And they're pretty cool. Their logo's designed by members from the official fan club in Toronto. Okay. I'll blow it up and we'll just cover our ugly mugs so you guys can see. Okay. But they're pretty sweet. And they have a lot of things incorporated that Weston McKennie likes and means something to him personally. Weston McKennie said he's going to rock that today underneath his kit. And if he bags one, he's going to unveil it for the club. So that was pretty sweet, pretty sick. And hopefully he does.
Yeah, so the crest looks like Harry Potter, one of the houses.
Yeah.
And we know he's a big Harry Potter fan. And the bull in there, I don't get it.
Texas.
It's more of a
Texas boy.
True.
Yeah, so it kind of Torino, you know. It's
a combination. Yeah, so it ties to both with that. And then up here you have the fist. Obviously, we know what the fist is for. Okay, uh, it's cool, man. It's just cool.
Yeah, I
I
like
I
it.
like it. I like it. I think it's cool. And if he did that, it would be a really really cool moment. So props to West. The Vancouver fan club got to hang out with Bernardeschi. He was in town. His team got rocked by the
Absolute
Whitecaps, but Berna was absolute class and took the time, gave the AJC community a video shout out you would have seen on Instagram and X or Twitter. But cool moment there for all those fans to meet Berna. And I heard he was absolute class, especially with the young kids that went out to see him and stuff. So you love to see and hear that. As far as Juventinita goes, I can attest that Bernardeschi, he's got it when it comes to Juventinita. So despite whatever anybody might think about that, class guy actually. And look, when you're in a restaurant and you're arguing with a Milan fan and you might go to blows and you're in Toronto, that's Juventinita. Okay?
Beauty.
Love it. Love it.
Love it.
Okay. Now, as we said, one change as corrected by Lucci there to the lineup. I have no problems with the lineup. You know, I'm thinking if you make any change, it's just that left side with between Illing and Caustic. But you know what? We just got to get things going. You got to get in rhythm. So follow it up. I have no problems with it. Let's get the victory. I'm going to give you the key stats before we get to our predictions and how you think the game's going to go today. Juve have won 9 of their last 10 at home against Fiorentina in all competitions. Juve have kept a clean sheet in 5 of their last 7 home matches against Fiorentina, all comps. But Juve have also only picked up 7 points out of their last 9 games in Serie A. We saw the Coppa Italia victory. Hopefully you can turn around from there. Fiorentina got a big midweek Coppa Italia victory over Atalanta. And again, players, a lot of rotation, and guys out of natural positions. But Fiorentina have obviously losing a lot away to Juventus. They have failed to score in 4 out of their last 6 against Juventus away from home. So, you guys, it's time. Everybody in the chat, final score, 2 tiebreakers. Hit me with your predictions. Lucci, guide the way, my friend.
Jeez. Okay, good thing I did my research before I came on here. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory. I'm going to go with a Dusan goal and a Danilo yellow card.
All right.
That's random.
Man, that is quick. Quick fire from Luch there.
In my research.
We got 3-0 Juve. McKennie bags 1 and assists 1.
Oh, wow.
1-0 victory. 1-0 Chiesa. We got 2-0 from Apex, Chiesa and Dusan, the goal scorers.
I like that.
We got
I like the goal scorers, yeah.
4-2. Fede brace. Dusan goal.
Jesus.
McKennie assist. Ooh, 4-2. Absolute barn burner at Allianz there. 2-1 for Juve. 3-1 from Sev. Chiesa,
Okay.
McKennie,
Okay.
Gatti.
Okay.
I'm liking a defender goal shout there. 1-0 from Trim. McKennie header off a corner and he flashes the shirt. 4 total cards. Ooh.
Okay,
All
I like
right.
that. Yeah,
Keep them
yeah,
coming,
yeah.
everybody. And guys, reminder, get the likes up. All right. Let's get the likes up. Omer, you're up, my friend.
Well, first of all, some news from Skira. Daniela Rogani contract extension is at the final stages. 2026
Deserved.
with option to 27.
Beautiful.
Good for him.
Yeah, came in now. I wanted to go with the 2-1, but because Lucci took it, I'll go with a 3-1.
Ooh.
Actually, I nailed my last 3 predictions, so you might want to stick with me. 3-1.
Easy
I
with the
want
back
both-
padding. Let's get through this.
Lots of goals
Yeah.
today. Jesus.
I'll go with a 3-1. I want both Dusan and Chiesa to score against their old club, and I
Yeah.
really, really want McKennie to get one so he can just show off the shirt, and he deserves a goal. Come on, 10 assists,
Yeah.
0 goals. He's been one of our better players this season, and he deserves to celebrate as a goal scorer. And yeah, I hope to see Alcaraz early because I think he's the answer to what you just said about the two-man pivot and the way we play, I think
Yeah.
Alcaraz could be interesting. So I really want to see him today for
I
more
think we
than
see
10
him. Yep.
minutes. And that's it. Yeah, maybe Belotti gets one. I don't know.
Alcaraz in Alcatraz.
You know
Got to
who's
get him
gonna
out.
score it for Fiorentina? It's either gonna be Artur or it's gonna be Mandragora coming off the bench.
No,
Mhm.
Mandragora should have retired after that Coppa Italia game. It's not going to get sweeter than that for him in his career. So hang him up. But I'm sorry, Rolando.
And on a high note, yeah.
It's going to end there, man. You should have just ran right out of the stadium for the Selly. Now, my final score. I'm going to go different from both of you because I don't want to hear it or any piggybacking nonsense, any bullshit like that. So
Stop
2
piggybacking
0.
and you won't hear it.
2-0. Juve clean sheet, 2 goals. Weston McKennie, yeah, he's getting one today, okay? That's a good omen. The T and everything, it's happening. Weston scores. I also do think that one of our defenders is going to get a goal here. So I'm going to say that Bremer finds a header in this game for 2-0. I'll even throw a little extra one out there that there will be. So Tony Trim said 4 total cards. I'm going to say we see over that. I'm going to say we see
Ooh.
over 4 cards in this game. Okay?
Okay.
And
Gonna
there
be a
you go.
fiery one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little cagey and whatnot before we get to the goals and everything like that. So there you go. And we'll get to some more predictions out here. We got Christy coming in here 3-0 with the Vlahovic Hattie. Let's go. Let's go. I'll chuck this damn hat on the watch along. Let's go. 3, I'd love to see a Vlahovic hat trick. Razzo coming in here. 2-0. Chiesa, Duchan goal. 4 yellows, 7 corners. That is precise, Michele. Okay? Precise. I like it. Another 3-0 with a hat trick from Vlahovic.
Wow.
McKennie assist. You guys feeling the goals today? I like it.
Everyone's feeling Dusan, eh? Okay.
Man. 2-1. You
I
get
hate-
Duchan and Bremer. Hey, there you go. I got.
I hate betting 1-0.
Let's see. Let's see what happens, you guys. Now, let's get to some Storm the Barn, you guys. Get some questions in. But first, before we open up to everybody, you guys can fire away. I'm keeping track on all of them. Lucci, any questions that something we didn't tackle that you maybe had, or Omer?
Oh, actually, you know what? I do. Because we were talking about Alcaraz. So do we think that, I don't see us paying that price that it's set at now, but do we see him coming back for another loan maybe next season?
I think they're
Or
going to shoot for it.
Something?
I think they're going to shoot for it.
I think
they're definitely not paying
No.
the price, but yeah, they will try to find a way to keep him for another season, extend his loan. I mean, it was already like a tough ask for him. You have like 6 months, you're not the starter, and you have to prove you're worth 50 million.
Yeah.
With like no history, so it was weird from the beginning.
Yeah, the little bit I've seen though, like I've liked what I've seen. So bring something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of this team right now, my kind of question is, focusing around this game as well. 59 points in the table for Juventus. Milan is 9 points ahead of us. We got the 1 game in hand. Bologna 1 point behind us now after the draw today. I believe, with Frosinone there.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody, Roma 55 points, Atalanta at 50 with a game in hand, actually 2 games in hand.
Atalanta played today as well.
Yeah, they do play today against Cagliari.
That's 3 points.
Where are you at on us and Champions League and reaching it? I don't even know how to do this. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of confidence of reaching Champions League, where would you say you're at, Lucci?
Right now, oh boy, maybe a 6.
A 6?
If that might even be high, to be honest. The way we've been going the past couple months, I'm just hoping maybe that Coppa Italia win gives us a little bit of a boost to get some results going here. We still got to play. I think we got to play Milan again. We still got to play Bologna.
You've got
Roma.
Fiorentina today. Then
Yeah,
Torino, the Derby della Mola,
yeah,
Cagliari, the second leg of the Coppa Italia, and then Milan
yeah.
at the end of April. Um, then you're gonna have Roma. You're going to have
There's tough matches
Salernitana.
in
You're going
there,
to have
man.
Bologna and Monza. So you're going to have a couple direct hits there with Roma, Bologna, and the Milan
Yeah,
game will be tough.
those will be huge games, right?
It's
But you need to keep your distance for now. Like you need to get today. You need a result today.
so
You
you're at
have
about
to.
a 6. Omer, where are you at for qualification?
Well, I said in the last pod before Lazio that this will be a turnaround. I still believe that. We will end the season, I think, third place. I'm not sure we're catching up to Milan. Although it's not
Mhm.
completely out of the question, we have a match against them. If we win today, it's 6 points. I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fairly confident we're making Champions League.
Yeah.
I
I'd
mean, it will
say,
be astronomic failure to not
Oh,
do it.
huge.
it would be insane. I'm around a 7.5 to an 8. Like, I mean, I'm quite confident we'll get through. Okay. I think attitude and approach is a big piece of the problem. We got that at least right second half in that Coppa Italia game. Today is probably going to be a huge indication of
Yes.
where I'm going to finally sit on this
Yeah.
measuring scale. Because I'm at a 7.5, 8. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But if something goes sideways today, I would probably drop significantly by the time the post match comes around, or even the podcast tomorrow. I want to remind everybody we got the live watch along we're rocking today. Immediately after the game, it's your chance to call in. So we're going to do an open call in show. And even if somebody wants to join in on a link and pop up on the show, come in and get your thoughts in right after the game while we got all those emotions fresh and everything. Hopefully it's all positive and we can talk
Hopefully.
about a victory and just chat about the game and what we saw, okay? But just a reminder, watch alongs going and call in immediately for post-match, because I don't want to just read out your comments. I want you guys jumping in here, okay? Let's go. Now, Storm the Barn. Coop Mainers would be a huge upgrade, but 70 mil is too much. Has to be better midfielders for that price. Who would
Wait.
you bring instead of Coop Mainers for a similar price?
Kefren Turam.
I was literally going to say at that price range, it would be Taram. Kone, I don't mind Kone too. I don't think he's even at that price range. And I don't mind him, to be honest. But if you're talking that price range, it would probably be Taram.
Is that what Turam's going for too now?
It was 60 last summer, and it's supposed to go up a bit for this year.
Jesus.
No, I
Yeah.
remember it was 40 last summer, and then Nice were kind of punching above the weight at the beginning of the season. And then it rose to 60, 70 even. But after that, it kind of, toned
Skira
down. And
said it was 60 last summer. He said it was never 40. He said everybody
okay,
believed 40 would buy Taram, but he said it's been 60 last summer.
okay,
So
okay, still,
this year Skira says it's going up.
Yeah. But
yeah,
do we
hopefully
even
it
have the
wouldn't.
facilities to offer 70 for anyone?
Not without selling those
No,
guys we
Well,
talked about
even with
earlier
selling,
on.
it's going to be hard. If you're selling, that's you're putting it all in one player pretty much. Especially if you just don't
Essentially.
want to bring in Calafiore
California.
Calafiore and Samardzic or Ferguson or whoever. Like, where's all this
Yeah.
money coming from?
Yeah.
Champions League.
Joe Bellingham here. Like, I don't know. There's names coming left, right, and center.
Yeah, the only name I'm just going to tell you right now, and everybody, I'm shocked at all the fighting, but I don't want to hear Mason Greenwood. I don't even want to hear him linked with Juve. And the amount of people that say, yes, bring him in. No, stop it. Okay. But, man, yeah, I wouldn't, it's going to be tough for that splash. And
Yes.
I said the whole time, when it comes to Koop Mainers, what Juve's got to hope for is that his will kicks in and that he wants to remain in Italy, and that gives Juve that leverage, because there is some Prem interest, right? And you know
course there
what
is.
Atalanta's going to do with that is push that price tag. That's their MO. They've been strong at it for so long. It is what it is. But yeah, all these other shouts there, for me, it would be Thuram. I agree 100% with Omer. If you're at that price range looking at somebody and it's not him. But, you know, in terms of Coop Mainers standing alone as a target for Juventus, I do like it. I mean, he could play anywhere in the midfield. He's very well versed in the league. I think he's a solid all around midfielder. He can give you goals. He can give you assists. I have no problems with him being one of our main targets in the midfield, but some are at the point where they don't even see him as making this big boost to the team. Omer, do you think he brings a big boost to the team?
Definitely offensively from midfield,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, his stats speaks for themselves. Just the way he plays, he's like, yeah, he's kind of reminding me of Pjanic. He works a lot with his eyes. He's always checking around. He's a quick thinker. Like he doesn't hold the ball too much. He immediately decides what to do, when to shoot, when to pass. And we need that. I feel like we're a bit too slow in our build up, especially
Hmm.
the midfielders. And we need someone who acts quick, thinks quick, and sees the pitch more than just, his position. I think he can answer that. Of course, there are better options there. But at that price range, with the experience in Serie A, I don't think we can do a whole lot better considering everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lucci, any concerns about, because Mark brings it up here, the Atalanta player tax?
We were talking. I put this out on Twitter a couple weeks ago. Like, the Atalanta players do scare me. Like, you've seen, ah man, there's a list. Gagliardini, Kessie was rough. Andrea Conte, Caldara was another one. Like, the list goes long of players that never actually made it. That spent 40 mil and then sucked. So the only the only thing that gives me a bit of positivity is that he actually played for the Dutch too. I believe in the what was the
Yeah.
last World Cup? Like I think he was a starter for them. So like he must know what he's like. He must be a solid player. Um, so I just don't see the 67 million or 60 or 70 million on one player,
I,
especially
I,
this summer. You
yeah,
know,
and I get that concern. As far as being a needle mover, I do think he helps us and he boosts us. I can understand the concern over the price tag. The big thing to factor in here, while we were kind of going off that previous Storm the Barn that came in about, you know, who's a better midfielder. Thuram's salary, his demands last summer were double what Coop Mainer's willing to come into Juventus for, if those rumors are true. So keep that in mind, everybody. Okay. Like, we could potentially bring in Coop Mainers and it would be a 4.5 million salary.
Mhm.
Thuram was rumored to want 8 to 9 last summer if a move was getting done.
That's crazy.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If we extend Alcaraz, Fajoli is back,
Uh huh.
and we get I wanted no, just Alcaraz and Fajoli. Do we need two new midfielders, or we just splash on one and that's it? Because
Oh,
if we only buy one, it might change
that's
my
true,
answer.
Homer.
Even with Alcaraz and Fajoli,
What if?
I want one solid mid coming in, like one guy you can lean on.
Yeah,
Like,
and if you keep Enzo as well, that's another one that might add to the midfield. Like you let Hines go, you keep Enzo. There's different ways you can go about it. I don't know. Or do you
Yeah,
forget Coop
'cause-
Miners and you go for Samardzic and Ferguson instead, so you get two instead of one. They're both good midfielders as well
so
and
if
cheaper.
that's the situation, I might go for Samardzic, and if we can get like a right winger, a proper right
Yeah,
winger,
yeah,
I
yeah.
might I
I'll throw
might
some
spend
else out.
there.
I'll throw something else out.
Hmm.
If that's the case, like, I'd potentially be okay with, if you keep McKennie around, you've got Locatelli around. Okay, I believe Fajoli, I believe in him, and I hope he amounts to
Comes
it and
back with a
whatnot. But I think he
vengeance.
could play all positions in the midfield. To be honest, you also still have Caviglia around that could cover in that other role. Maybe open up Locatelli. to a
And
side.
Moretti.
I wouldn't be against making two lesser, you know,
Mm-hmm.
less expensive
Yeah.
moves of Ferguson and Samardzic.
I like both of them, to be honest. I would look into that because I would think if you buy two of them would probably cost you 60 to 70, which is apparently Coop Miner's cost alone. So you're getting two
You
for the
could
price of one.
maybe swing both of those for 50,
Even better, right?
you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I think we can get two decent midfielders for one Hoop
Yeah.
Maynard.
Absolutely.
So it depends on who stays and who goes. Yeah.
For sure.
But
You can
then,
also,
it's a
Moretti's
little
gone
bit of
for
a
sure.
risk because
yeah,
you
it is.
haven't got
Of course
that
it is.
main, that main focal point in the midfield. But then you're banking on Locatelli coming out of his shell finally and
Well,
pulling.
like Lucci
I
said,
think they all need a
for
different
a lot of
poise, man.
people, it sounds like Coop Miners is a gamble too, to some degree, coming out of
Yeah.
Atalanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I've been saying the whole time, and I really do. I feel for everyone in charge at Juve right now because there's a million decisions that have to be made, and not a single one is easy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, so let's
I'd
say
hate to be the guy making those calls right now because it's insane. It's insane. From players to coach to literally everything is under the microscope right now, and they have to get it right. They have to start hitting.
okay, so some hypotheticals. Summer comes in, we got Mota. Mota is the new manager of Juve. You have enough money to bring in three guys.
Oh,
Three
I was
guys.
thinking of a similar question. Carry on, Omer.
Yeah. Who are those guys? Who are the three you're going with? In what positions?
Oof. That's tough.
I mean, it's not out of the question. We had like one signing last summer, one and a half, let's
I
call
was
it.
thinking of four players, but three is you made it a lot tougher.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to read some of these comments. Omar, remind me what your question?
Okay, you can bring three players in
Yeah.
the summer. Logical
Yeah.
players. Don't
Yeah.
tell me the brain and Mbappe. Who are those three?
If I can only pick three, it's
Yeah.
Coop, Samardzic, and Calafiore.
Ooh.
Those are the three you're going with.
Those are
Okay.
my three I go with.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we including free transfers in this as well, or only players you have to pay for?
No, free transfers. You can bring in three. You have enough money for three players.
For just three
Inclu-
players? Oh shit. I'm going. Oh,
Ooh, I
man.
like Orsolini.
I don't see that happening though. Okay, so I'm going Calafiore, probably Ferguson, because then you can get a little 2-for-1 with Bologna going, and Retegui,
Oh,
because I think both Malik and Keane are gonzo. So you need some options up top.
Caio Giorgi, your boy.
Now he's going on another loan for sure.
I know, I just
And
like
love
bugging
that
you
he's
about this
I
Caio
love that poor
Giorgi
guy.
love that you have.
Yeah,
But-
good for you for hanging in there. One day when you win the Ballon d'Or with Barcelona.
Calafiore,
you can-
Samardzic, and
Yeah,
Xerxes.
yeah,
That's
not bad
that's a
either.
solid one
Yep.
too, and I actually like this one as well.
Yeah,
Calafiore's
those are my three. Calafiore,
Okay.
Samardzic, Xerxes.
nice.
Sounds possible. The thing with Xerxes is his Bayern contract. Like one of the rumors was that Bayern are going to buy him
Yeah.
from Bologna because they have like a set price that's lower than everyone else,
Mhm.
and then they can sell him to Juve. And we have good relations with Bayern. We've done a lot of business with them, and especially Delict, they kind of got the discount. So that's the only way I see him coming. Besides that, I mean, Milan are going to be hard on him because they lose Giroud, and he
Yes.
wants to go to Milan. So the only way is otherwise it'll cost like 70. Bologna will ask for as much.
Give
as
me
they can.
Retegui. I'd rather have Retegui than
Anyway.
Xerxes anyways, to be honest.
All
But
right,
We need,
Let's try
a
and,
fan rocking up to Bologna and bring all the players we want
let's-
from them.
let's try and fire through a couple more of these as we get close to wrapping up. We got Adam coming in here. So Omer and I kind of tackled this one already. Who's the most underrated? Who's the most overrated on the last one? But we didn't get Lucci. So Lucci, who's your most underrated and
That's tough.
overrated on the squad right now?
are we going Oh, underrated. Okay, I thought he meant specific. So overrated for sure is Rabiot in my opinion. One out of 5 good seasons. I think that's ridiculous. And underrated? Ooh, I think Cambiasso, to be honest. A lot of people never really thought he was anything coming back this summer. They thought he was going to be an average player. He's been one of our best players this whole season.
Cambiasso, pretty stoked on. And that's our next kit giveaway, everybody. So,
That one right
you
there.
know, all you subscribers are locked in. And that's my debt paid. 10 kits, okay? There's actually been 11 this season because we had a fan club giveaway one as well. And, God, I'm a man of the people. I got another 2 coming for all you, okay? We got another 2 coming. But one of them is actually going to be up for grabs for the AJC team because they don't get to compete,
Jesus.
in these contests. So we're going to have a little fun, and one of these guys can end up getting it. So we'll see what happens. It's going to kick off with a
Trivia
vote,
fun?
though. Huh?
Trivia fun?
We're going to have some fun. It's going to start off with a vote, okay, where everybody's going to vote on their favorite cast member. And then from the vote...
Oh, Alexa's going to win. That's not even fair.
Well, do your hair in once in a while, and
Going to hit the gym first.
get some, get your Instagram portfolio worked up there, and you can compete with Lex there, and then we'll see, right? But we're gonna get to Rasso here. Rasso keeping it with football. Last time he got us going on Metallica, which was sick. Sell Bremer, McKennie, Sule for how much, and who would you buy? Oh my God.
You're selling all 3 or just one of them?
He's saying selling all 3 for how much? If you sold all 3 of those guys?
Oh.
Okay,
I think
so
they can add up to like
125, 130?
dude,
no, I
Bremer's
was
got to
going
be
like 110, 115.
Bremer's release clause is 70. McKennie's got to be for sale for 25 to 30 based
Yeah.
on his season this year.
Right.
That's what, 105, 110.
Another
Sule's got to be
30.
40 to 45 in my opinion.
Really? You think that much?
Has to. We bought Kulishevsky for 40 for Christ's
True.
sake. Bernardeschi 40. Dybala 40. All these up and coming guys 40. Atalanta sold Hoyland for fuck's sakes for 70. Sule's
good
40
point.
to 45 all day.
So 150 then. Give or take 150.
So let's say 150. Who would I
that's
buy?
You still move out Milik and Keane. That's another 20,
Yeah.
25 between
So
the
who
two
do
of
you
them.
buy? Who do you buy? So
I'm
we're
cooking.
going down here. 150. Yeah, 145 based on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
135. So we're all in that range.
Close
You know?
enough. Yeah.
If we're looking
Offer
at
it
that.
all.
Buddy.
Offer it all for Martin Odegaard, and that's it. 150, and we're set.
And go for who?
Martin Odegaard.
Odegaard. Oh, so we're gonna
Okay. You want me to go
lose
first?
a D-man, lose it. So let's say Hermoso on a free kind of tackle that doesn't cover Bremer, but that's okay. Midfield, make a big splash. Sule. Yeah, I'm still saying Milinkovic Savic to shout there.
What?
Boat has passed. Ship has sailed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, like it would change my splash in the midfield to not being Coop Mainers. And
Really?
I'd go after one of those other guys, and it would be probably like a guy like Taram or Kone, and
Okay.
I'd get a free in Hermoso, and I'd look at a solid attacker. I'd spread it out. I wouldn't splash one bit. I don't think we should splash. I think we got to get back to the ways of working around. So that's kind of the route I would go, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting together a list.
I love Dani Olmo for T97.
Oh.
Love Dani Olmo. He's a phenomenal player. I don't think he's ever leaving Leipzig. Yeah, lots of good options. 150
Swarid saying
million?
he'd get Calafiori, Samardzic, Ferguson, Xerxes, and Felipe Anderson. Yeah, I'd spread it. I'd spread it.
What's
I don't
with
know if
everyone
I'd
in
just
Felipe Anderson?
splash
I
one.
don't get it. Don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
Danny
watched I
Olmo,
watched
yeah.
them yesterday. He was awful.
Like Danny
You
Olmo.
know, who I tried
Stefan
to
and
go
Coffee
for?
with Cards. What is up, brother? Danny Olmo's good. Like a Danny Olmo. Love it. Let's keep it
You
rolling.
know
We got time
who?
for a couple more.
Okay, I got my list.
Mhm.
I got my
Okay, let's
list.
go.
Sorry, so I go Hermoso on a free, Kala for say about 20 million, Coop you got 60, Ferguson another 20, and Rategi another 30. That brings you to like 135 ish,
Nice.
130. So you
And the
still have
only
a bit.
thing is, is that it doesn't truly work that way because your capital gains and they're
Well,
not
you
going
still
to.
have money left over. If you're getting 150, you have another 15 mil to cover in salaries and everything else. So you should be
You
covered.
just spent 130, didn't you?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. We have. Yeah, no,
150, I thought we said.
it wouldn't work out from a capital point of view, right? Because even
Well,
if we sell Bremer for 70, it doesn't mean we're spending 70 on the next guy. We would have 35 in
you'd half of
capital.
that. Half of that. Yeah.
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 The one that is full capital is Sule.
Sule.
Sule's like almost full capital. If you
Right.
sell him for 40, 45. So between those two players, you have 70 in capital. McKennie would bring you about 15 in capital if we sold him at that price. 15 to 20, I think, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So,
So then,
yeah, 12 to 15 for McKennie. So all of a sudden
Then-
you're at 80. You're about 120 in capital. So yeah, you're pretty close to even. You're pretty close to even, Luke.
And then if you move Malik and Keane, you got a couple million there. So you're breaking even roughly. I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you Luca is our main regista long term? 6.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm on a 5.
I am
Yeah, I'm-
just slightly still on the hopeful side for Luca. 6.
Who are you gonna put there is my only question.
Well, right now, it's not happening. There are shouts that people
Area.
think that Hans Nicolucci Caviglia is better than him in that role right now, but I disagree
I don't think
from the
come
defensive
on. You
side of
haven't
things.
seen
I
But
enough.
don't think so.
-5. Woo!
That's harsh. That's harsh. If anyone is gonna be it, it's
3.
gonna be Barnechea if he stays.
Yeah, and even Barnechea's still got a way to go. I like Barnechea,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
got a way to go. Basically, you could see there's not a lot of confidence. And
There's not a lot of options either.
here's the thing with Fagioli. As Fagioli's name pops up here, 100% Regista.
Really?
He could play anywhere in the midfield, but when you watch this team train, this kid needs to find, and this was always my knock on him, he has to find a way to get up and around the area because he scores nothing but bangers in training.
True.
He is sick. We just have to find a way to get him up there. Playing him as a regista for me is not the answer. Getting
agree.
him to understand his own strengths and where he needs to be and operating is of maximum importance for us to get the best out of Fagioli. So I would not put him in the regista role
If
personally.
he had like the spatial awareness, attacking awareness like Meretti has, that he would be lights out because he's got the finishing, he's got the passing. Like he in those areas he kills Meretti, no doubt. But Meretti has that way to get forward and get in like in little pockets. Fagioli needs to work on that a bit. He would be crazy if he could figure that out.
Look, the interesting thing is that if it is Mota actually plays a 4-2-3-1.
Right.
And then a double pivot, I will take Locatelli there. With
Yes, I agree.
whoever. And so, yeah, no to a Regista. I think we can get a lot more from him as a Metsala. But if we're like the 2-man pivot, then yeah, I'd keep him.
2-man pivot is Luca's thing, but this is the part that you guys, like, we're splitting hairs here because the duties are not far off. When you're playing double pivot, you're still it just means you have 2 guys that are collecting essentially and distributing. One on left, one on right, and they work together. It's not a drastic difference. So how much of it comes down to the pairings? How much of it comes down to the partnership? Were we that hard on Locatelli when Fagioli was next to him last season and he had Rabiot on his other side and Rabiot actually balled last season? We weren't so hard on him.
True.
because
No.
Fagioli made up for it because he had the technical ball playing ability and the ball retention. And he actually
And
came back to collect a lot more than McKennie or Rabiot actually do. It's it's kind of this, and I'm not making excuses for Locatelli because I've been calling him out for a long time now over the past month, 2 months to pick it up and step it up. But if you're looking at just the logistics and the responsibilities and the duties, there is not a drastic difference in a two-man pivot mid to a regista, and that's why I
wait,
I
but there's
laugh
a
when
difference.
I hear that. And if you're talking about Mezzala and saying that is going to unlock Locatelli, I disagree because he doesn't have it going up and into the area and whatnot. Like, he's too slow. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I agree
but
with that.
that's like a matter
But
of the way we play. Because with Allegri, yeah, he's basically like a force CB. The way we play, we don't
Exactly.
control
Yeah.
right,
that.
Sure.
right.
But with a different coach, if we control the game more, if we play higher upfield as a team, then it could look different. Then his responsibilities change a bit.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, a lot depends on the partner, on who's playing there with him.
But along with that, you're talking about last season. How much better was Rabiot last season, which made
It's not
Fajoli
Rabiot.
and but it made everyone look better because Rabiot was playing better.
Well, because the other option was Paredes, and no one wanted to see him on the pitch.
True, also true.
I
But like
will
I
say
mean, you
this.
need that. You need them to work together to make them all look better. Like right now, Rabiot's fucking sorry, excuse my language, has been awful, and which doesn't help Locatelli because he's helping Rabiot. Like it's a domino effect.
When Miretti and Alcaraz were the two midfielders against Napoli, and
Yeah,
we moved that ball the most fluid I've probably seen in a
because
long time.
they actually have the talent to do so.
And Luca was a part of that. And he was finding them in those lines and he was breaking the game. Like
Exactly.
the,
You need them to work together and
it
play well
has
together.
to work. And I just think the mix has been brutal. But the Luca for Mezzala shouts, I don't see it. I really,
To me,
really
it doesn't
don't.
really matter where he plays.
You know,
I still don't think
I
he's
really don't. And I still have faith in him, but it's only a 6 out of a 10. So we'll see. Last, certainly not least, Jorginho. People are talking about Jorginho. Get Jorginho as a regista, short gap, and he's a leader. We could use those. Great. But if we get a PK, don't let this guy anywhere near him. I'm open to a Jorginho coming in, but I think we go further depending on what we find on the creative side. I really, really do.
yeah.
I think if you look at this season, I don't think Locatelli's like a killer or killed us. I think the bigger killer was losing Pogba and Fagioli
Oh, for sure.
because you couldn't fill that. And Miretti, bless his heart, young kid, go out on loan, but he wasn't the answer and he couldn't provide it. That was more detrimental to us than Locatelli's play because Locatelli still defensively for me is the best out of the bunch in the middle of the park. I don't know. Agree, disagree, roast me, come at me, do whatever. We could carry it on in the watch along and you could call me out for all my opinions. I don't care. I love it. You guys, we got to wrap up. It's time to go through your match day traditions, superstitions, everything. Guys, you got any superstitions for these games? It's 11:45 a.m. game my time. All right. I don't really do anything out of the norm. Gonna have some family time before the game and everything. The only time I do is when they're the 3:30 a.m. games. 2 espressos. Gotta for the 3:30 a.m.s. That's the only time. That's a kicker. And of course, in the nice tazza, that's Juventus. Other than that, that's my only thing. Espresso and Advil.
Hadville.
Omar, probably
Yeah.
just, is there a different amount of smokes? Are you smoking more during these past 9 games?
For the past 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah,
for
100%.
sure.
But I actually, well, first of all, my wife has to be out of the room because, like, not because she does anything, just this one time she walked away and Juve scored 2 goals. So from then on, it kind of feels like whenever she's not here, we're doing well. And she actually respects that. So God bless her. I love her, and she's awesome. And about the smoking, I usually, have like a Johnny most of the time through a game, rather than cigarettes.
There you go. There you go. Look at
Mhm.
Sev here with 2 Negroni and a whole pack of cigs.
Jesus.
Holy. Wow. All right. What kind, though, Omer? What kind?
Oh,
We
you
got
wouldn't know them. You wouldn't know them. These are local cigarettes. I was a Camel guy and I was a Winston guy, but now I smoke local because the prices are crazy. And
smoke
honestly,
local, everybody. There you go.
yeah, preferably homegrown. And yeah, so you wouldn't know it, but the prices are crazy right now all over. Like I've been to New Zealand. Do you have any idea how much does a pack of cigarettes cost in New Zealand?
Another reason to quit, my man. To quit.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
replace it with? What do you replace it with? We got to find something to
oh, I
replace
want
it
to be
with.
a pipe. I want to be a pipe guy. Like when I get old, just sit with my pipe and act smart and have these smart glasses. Yeah,
Gandalf. Gandalf
yeah,
the Grey. As you get older, let the beard go.
yeah.
Maybe
Oh yeah, I work on all of that.
All right,
Then just yeah,
everybody.
I'm building it up.
Pipe and top hat. There you go. Pipe and top hat. There you go. You guys,
Sounds classic.
absolute pleasure. Lucci, got to get you on more often, brother. Great having
Great
you
being
on.
here.
Omer, always a pleasure. Guys, watch along about 20 minutes before kickoff, and then don't forget right after the game, call-in show time for all of you guys to get in there with your thoughts, all right? Drop a like before we sign off. Subscribe if you haven't already. And, hey, as always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Let's kick the shit out of Fiorentina today, all right? Gotta set the tone. All right, boys. Ciao, everybody. Take care.
Yeah.